How's everyone doing today? Let's go. I'm gonna go over this debt thing with everybody. There's a lot of people that really just don't understand what's going on, so they're putting out their little fear articles. They're putting out half stories because here's the thing: if you don't understand this part right here, there's no way you can talk about the meeting because when I explain this, you're gonna understand exactly what's going on with this meeting, and everybody's I hope it's going to feel a lot more confident right now because this tells me one thing. Adam Aaron is a lot more confident in them going forward, them being able to restructure their finances than I think people think. So we're going to get into that in a minute here. I'm just going to let some people fill up here. I don't really want to continuously go over this AMC thing, but this is very important. This is actually very important if you have AMC stock. So we're going to wait a second. MC, thank you. I always appreciate the baby diapers. Never complain about that, my friend. So I always appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, we're definitely gonna get into this debt thing. And actually, you guys, I want to show you guys it's all starting. We're winning now. They're actually running to another market. They're running to Last Hope, and this shows me another thing too. The bank lending is slowing drastically down. I know a lot of people continuously will just say the stock price, but just relax. Again, we'll go over all that right now here. So we got enough people here, so let's go over this. Now, a lot of people were showing this around Twitter. They were talking about this debt here, the facility. They wanted to know if we were going to get these covenants, the restrictions renewed and all this, the extensions. Well, I want people to understand what this was. So what this was is a couple years back, we ended up opening a credit facility. Now, in the last 10K, you guys can go over all the information here. I'll go ahead and post this in the link. This gives you a timeline on when they extended everything. This goes completely into every single detail. Go ahead and read this. Now, what ended up happening is we ended up maxing this credit facility out. Now, when they opened this credit facility, they ended up basically putting restrictions on this. It's like opening up a credit card. But with this, when you access this facility, you got to follow guidelines, restrictions on your finances, all that good stuff. Pay the rate. Maybe it's a super high rate. Well, what ended up happening is if you look over the years and through the financial statements, AMC actually paid this facility off. So it's down to zero. So what ended up happening is AMC is no longer going to renew this facility with these lenders. Now, what that means, it can mean a whole bunch of different things. Maybe he found different lenders that he can open up a new facility at better rates, at less restrictions. Maybe he wants to try and negotiate another type of facility with better rates, less restrictions. But what ended up happening is since they ended up, AMC went to this facility and opened up this credit card in words, they lifted some of their debt covenants because they had other restrictions set on this facility, on that specific loan. So now those restrictions are gone. So for whatever reason, Adam Aaron's saying now, it's not worth us renewing this contract, and it says it right down here. They're not going to extend the facility and the maturity date when it ran out this year in April. So they're not doing anything with this. So now, with that in mind and knowing that they're not, going with this credit card anymore, what the lenders now are doing of that, since they're getting together now and they're saying, hey, you're not using our credit card facility anymore. We want to know what's going on. We want to know your plan going forward. We want to know what are you going to do? How can we restructure? How can we help? Now, this meeting shows me a lot of people thought, they just want to bankrupt AMC, and I don't really believe that's the case anymore at this point. I really don't, because if you guys have looked at everything, they've done nothing but improve their statement. They gave them all this leeway. They gave them the extensions. And now they're giving them meetings and they're giving them a plan. So what this meeting is the old lenders that, the old owners of that credit facility, they're getting together and saying, hey, since you're not going to do our credit facility anymore, here's what we think you should do. Here is our idea. Now, it's like a negotiation. Maybe they're coming over saying, let's renegotiate, all your debt. Let's restructure your debt and push this out. Now, there's plenty of things they can do here. One of the things they can do is they can look at all the, all their notes and all their debt and say, all right, Instead of having all these different ones at this term here, this high term here, this high term here, let's go ahead and average those all out, put it all under one loan, one term, push that out, and we can lower that if you guys go ahead. And it's always going to be a little, you give me this, I'll give you that. It's negotiations. So maybe they'll say, hey, if you can raise X amount of capital, we will negotiate these terms. We'll put it all under one loan. Or he can go ahead and, again, 1 second here, my dog is going crazy. Stop. One of the other things he can do is get another loan. He can put in convertible notes. I know people don't want that. Warrants. He can do other things to make it more attractive for them down the road. And then what that does, though, is it also now makes the lenders, they want those prices to be met. So if you're going to give them warrants and all that, you're going to have in convertible notes. You're going to want to make them at high prices. So if AMC gets back to 20, you got this quick. But in the short term, yes, it completely helps out the company. Down the road when when they're going to convert it, obviously that sucks. But right now, AMC, like I said, guys, if you look at the rest of the year, if you look at this article, because one of the things people said with this article right away, it's smearing us. It's trying to smash AMC. It talks about how they're a money-losing theater chain. It constantly throws jabs, and then they wonder why. Well, of course, the people I just talked about, look at who owns their stock in all these companies. It's these same stupid fucking banks that we're in negotiations with. So they're coming back to Adam Aaron. They're trying to, make this seem way worse than ever. Blah, blah, blah. They don't know Adam Aaron's plan. And that's what they're coming at him saying. What is your plan? Here's our plan. What do you want to do? So again, I believe you're going to see AMC restructure their debt this year. And I think it's going to be in a lot more favorable terms than the current debt. And it's going to be beneficial for AMC. We need to get rid of this cash burn. Now, one of the things that this talked about is the bad movie slate. For 2024, it talks about the cash burn in 2020 or Q4 of 2023. Now, one of the things I've been stressing to you guys, Q1 of this year is going to be the worst quarter for AMC since the pandemic. There was just nothing there. There was nothing there. There was not enough movies. It was garbage. If we didn't even have Dune, if Dune wouldn't have got pushed back, this Q1 would have been so gross. But if you guys look at the numbers, we're only at 1.355. Like I said, now we're hoping to hit 1.5 by the end of the quarter. That's not good. We're going to have cash burn of 200, 250 in that range, 225 around there. So a lot of people, when I said we're going to need to do a capital raise and they're going crazy, you cannot right now take 250 cash burn and just no big deal. No, you have to recover some of that. We have to do a capital raise. You have to. In the short term, is it going to suck? But yes, it will bounce back. Because again, the end of Q2 is amazing. Q3 is amazing. Q4 is amazing. Next year, the entire year is the best year that I think we're going to see since the pandemic. AA right now. So right now in this meeting, like I said, I can't tell you the logistics exactly what's going to happen here because obviously I'm not in this negotiation room. But I guarantee you they came in here, they said, hey, here's our plan. If you don't want to open up this, maybe they said, hey, we'll do a brand new credit facility at these rates. That might be their plan because here they go. They talk about them giving them an idea to bolster the company's balance sheet. Again, I don't know what that idea is, and there's no way for anyone to know. It could, again, be restructuring. There could be tons of different things. But they basically want to know what's the next step since we're no longer going to do this credit facility. And now that, you don't want to do that, we're no longer going to waive those debt covenants. You're now going to need to follow these as well, these restrictions, these guidelines. Again, the only reason Adam Aaron would not renew this is, one, he didn't feel they need the cash. Two, he has a plan of recovery, a course of recovery, sees the box office recovering, says we can do one or two capital raises, get through to the point to where AMC will be back to, like I said, I believe we will be full on making profits. Q2, Q3, Q4, and all next year. And maybe that's exactly what Adam Aaron's looking at. And he goes, these restrictions, again, are not worth it. So what this plan of action is I can't tell you yet. But I've been telling you AMC, well, they're going to restructure their debt. And I believe they're going to do it this year. Again, whether they attach notes, warrants, whatever they're going to do, I'm not 100% sure. But that is what this is about. These guys just want to know. But again, if Adam goes in there and says, hey, we believe, and that's the thing. Here's the thing that it is such a massive deal that it is so hard to say anything until, any kind of announcement is made. Maybe Adam Aaron has in the background a whole bunch of distribution deals. I don't know, but distribution could be a massive thing. He obviously sees, like I said, he's not going to close this down unless he sees AMC recovering or has another plan. So there's a new plan coming forward. These guys basically just wanted to know what it is, and they wanted to give their plan on what they think we should do. And like I said, over the next week or two, it's going to be very interesting to see the negotiations that happen. But to get to the movie point, just to show you guys what I'm talking about for the rest of the year. Once again, you guys look at the movies the rest of the year. Tell me we're not going to be profitable every fucking quarter at this point. Godzilla, Deadpool, Despicable Me 4. The last two have done $1 billion. Mad Max Froza, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Next Joker, Quiet Place. I don't know what this Kraven the Hunter is. They have it really high. I honestly cannot tell you what that will do. But they got Garfield, Gladiator 2, Kung Fu Panda just came out. You got The Fall Guy coming, Madame Web, If, Argyle, Spider-Man, Inside Out 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, Venom, Beetlejuice, a Lion King movie. Yeah, because a Lion King movie, that's $1 billion movie for sure. A Disney movie, everyone's going to take their kids to that. So, like I said, it gets better and better. What's that? Oh, God. I can't remember that. Oh, there's a Borderlands movie coming out. I know I'm missing a couple. Oh, Bad Boys 4. I'm missing some. There's a Lord of the Rings movie coming out. Like I said, it's like, I told you guys, until April, it's going to be like, God, when Adam Aaron used to say, survive and then thrive, it was, this point's your survive part. Get through this writer strike, get through this bad content era. From, like I said, from May on, it's gold in the box office. Now, this doesn't even count Megapolis. Maybe they end up announcing when that's, like I said, there's a lot of things that could suddenly pop off. Any other distribution deal that comes in, they've been trying to move content forward. I don't know if you guys saw, they're doing re-releases of God, where the hell is it? They're doing re-releases of every movie known to man now, like all the Star Wars. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I can't find that post. They're making the Sims movie, by the way, with Margot Robbie. Alien. I didn't even mention Alien's coming out. Like I said, it's nothing but great movies right after. I can't find that post. I post too much stuff in a day. But there's a whole bunch of, there's Shrek's coming out, Spider-Man's coming out, Star Wars coming out. They're doing a ton of re-releases. So they're going to keep adding more content throughout the year. But like I said, for the next couple quarters, that's when I start to see the 2 billion pluses. 2 billion throughout each quarter the rest of the year. 2.3, 2.4. That's where I start to see these numbers getting to. So with all of that said, that is what this meeting was about. Again, Adam Aaron wouldn't have got rid of that facility unless he didn't think AMC needed it. And he obviously doesn't think we need it. He thinks we can get through. We have enough cash on hand, do a couple of capital raises, and then he believes content's coming back. You're going to get back to that. Popcorn sales, all that will get us to the point, like I said. Q3, Q4 into 2025, I believe AMC will be profitable enough to where they can start making debt payments as well. And they're not going to sit there and need to dilute. That's when you start to thrive. And that's where we're getting to. Now, one of the things I really am excited about, though, because they have been fighting this. Before I move on here, does anyone else have any questions quick on AMC before I move on? And does anyone not understand what's going on? So they closed down the credit facility. All those debt covenants are waived. Now the people that had that facility and waived those covenants are like, what is your plan? If we think you should do this, here's our plan. Now, another thing he could do a reverse stock split, 4-to-1 or something, raise the price up, do a dilution that way. We'd obviously vote on it, but there's plans of action going forward he can take. But what this shows me is, one, these guys, the fact that they're coming and telling us, hey, do this, we'll offer you this. They don't want bankruptcy. Nobody wants bankruptcy at this point, not even the lenders. The lenders are looking over going, all right, you guys, after this cash burn, are going to have, what, $660 million on hand around there? Now, that's not going to suffice any of us. Now, what is your guys' assets? They don't own the buildings, you guys. It's not like AMC owns all their theaters. So what are their assets and things? It's a whole bunch of fucking projectors and stuff. Who wants those? Who's going to pay the top premium dollars for those? No one. So you're going to have a whole bunch of undervalued assets, and you're going to sell all this off, and no one's going to be made whole. So they don't want that, especially in a time like this. They're taking losses everywhere on loans, commercial real estates. A thing you start to really think about when you look at it. If AMC went under, what the hell would that do to the movie industry, really? What would that do to the box office? That would be a lot of theaters that will never reopen. Yes, some of them are going to get bought. Of course, the most expensive ones, someone will come in and scoop up. But a lot of them are going to end up getting blown down and turned into something else. So, like I said, this shows me Adam Aaron has a plan. This shows me the lenders are willing to negotiate terms. This shows me everybody's in the room and nobody wants the company to go under. So, why everyone's sitting there freaking out, this is good things. The reason this article is a bashing article is because the people that are in negotiations with AMC control the stock of Yahoo. So they're going to make it a fucking horrible sounding thing to get better terms. It's very simple. Now, one of the things that I'm super excited about, on the 31st now, the CAT system reporting all this stuff, it goes fully live now. The extension's done. One of the reasons they were trying to fight this, one of the reasons they wanted this all done, is their extensions for all these firms is coming to an end. Now, this is not a coincidence, you guys. I'm going to show you something because timing is everything. Now, these guys are over here, and the CAT system now, they're going to have to start doing full reports. Now, if you guys look here at this link, I'm going to post this for you guys. What ended up happening on the 31st now of this month, all small firms, medium-sized firms, they need to have their timestamp in their computer system updated, set accurate. Their date, they need to start doing full reporting. This is massive. This is all industry members, large and small, must be fully compliant with CIS CAT system reporting obligations. So this is going to be a big deal. A lot of these people, like I said, this is when everything comes out into the dark. Now, it's all about, does the SEC act? Because here's the thing. When I told you guys about the CAT system and how... What he says? Yeah, May 31st. Oh, I'm sorry, May 31st. I'm sorry. Wrong month here. Next month here. So next month they have to all do full obligations. And on top of that, I got that all messed up there. And then I was thinking next month too, because next month you have T+1 coming as well. So you have T+1 coming, and you have full reporting obligations coming in the CAT system. So what this does, again, they need to update their system to match everything. There's no more getting away with it. All these firms now need to be fully transparent with the SEC. Now, what this does for us is we can now, if the SEC does not act, we can now start to sue the SEC, because the SEC has no excuses anymore. The SEC with T+1 and with the CAT system fully up and operational, this was the point of the CAT system, is to be able to watch the full life cycle of all trades. Again, why is the CAT system so important? In the old system, it was self-reported, okay? It was all self-reported, dark, bullshit. And as you guys can see, they mark this long, they mark longs as shorts and shorts as longs, and they do whatever the hell they want to get a locate whenever they conveniently need a locate. Well, what the old system used to do is it would do the start of a trade, it would track the start of a trade, and it would track the end of a trade. So it would just have two little little signals, two little timestamps on it. It didn't have a date, it didn't have a timestamp attached to it. It didn't have a venue ID that it took. It didn't have anything. It basically was 100% reliant on hedge funds telling the truth, banks telling the truth, market makers telling the truth. Well, the CAT system, no more of that. Everything is it's dated. There's timestamps. And the difference between the CATs and the OAT system is you go from 2 times when it reports data to 4 times when it reports data. That is a major deal because one of the new columns that is added, as I showed you before, is the venue ID. So you now know when Citadel takes it and if they internalize an order, okay? Well, you internalize an order, your clock starts now because you internalized it this day, you internalized it at this time, they got everything. And if it ever moves anywhere else, it has the venue ID attached. So no matter what, they can't get around the signals. At all times, it's tracked. The entire life cycle. And that's a huge, huge deal. So now that you have the venue ID, everyone is held accountable. Now, what else does the CAT system have that is a major deal? It has your broker ID and the customer ID attached to the broker. So in the old system, they didn't even know who bought that trade. They didn't know who bought it at Fidelity. They had no idea. Fidelity would just report their things in, market maker. Like I said, the self-reporting that went on in the old system was complete gong show. It was unbelievable. So this CAT system, like I said, everything about this. They now know who bought it, when. So they now know the customer ID, the broker ID, the time, the date, the venue ID. So they now know the venue ID. So the second I buy it, it goes from me and the next signal pings at the broker. So now it knows exactly what broker it went to. Okay. Then the third time is when the broker sends it to a market maker. And then the time after that is when the market maker fills the order. So it now knows the entire life cycle. There is no hide it over here quick, hide it over here quick. So now if they have the fills, they have the locates. Well, now they'll need to show where they got the locates before for these brand new ones. T+1, you're going to have your locates faster. So it costs them less when it comes with T+1. But it's a lot harder for them, to throw this over here longer, throw this over here, throw this over there. Yeah, of course, they'll find a way to manipulate. I don't think they'll really be able to find ways as much to manipulate it, but I think we're going to more see the SEC not acting on information they get. Or you're going to see a lot more acceptance waivers and consents. Because as we see, those acceptance waivers and consents basically get them out of it, and they don't give a shit about signing them. Why would they? You're going to pay, taxpayers will pay almost all of it. So either way, they don't give a fuck. They're going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then eventually, everyone gets to say, why can they sign 1,000 of these and pay the same fine? I just can't believe this shit. Like, if you really step back and look at reality, what the fuck is going on? Like, all these criminals put these people in regulators who then don't regulate the fucking criminals, and we have to sit there and beg regulators. It's like begging police to police. This is so ridiculous. So, again, they'll have the data, and if they don't act, we as people, we as citizens, need to start suing the SEC. Because once this comes live, there is no excuse. Because that is literally the purpose of this. All right. The way we get the SEC to start acting, you sue them. Why are these guys doing this? How is this happening? And you're not acting on information. And then what are they going to say? Well, we don't have the fundings to do so? Well, the fuck are we doing here? It's not our problem. It's not our fault. You need to get that taken care of then. So, again, the CAT system, T+1 comes live, and that's all next month. And this is for now everybody. The extension is over. The extension will now end. If you come look down here, the deadline extension, they extended it in August over to May. Well, they're not extending it at all as far as anybody's talked about, as far as I've heard. So next month, this should actually go ahead, just like everybody thought they were going to extend the bank lending program. That ended. So they want to get this up and going. So next month, like I said, this is when stuff's going to start getting interesting. Because next year, farther, a couple months down the road in this year, I feel like you're going to see a lot more buying pressure once again in AMC. Now you're going to see what these market makers, I mean, like I said, I don't see how the SEC at this point cannot start acting. They now have 100% information. They now have 100% information, and they now have zero excuses. So, again, if they don't start acting when this shit starts going live, we need to. Now, one of the things I want people to look at, boom, bank lending facility. I told you guys this month and next month it's going to hit them the hardest. And if you guys look, a lot of those commercial real estate loans, they need to be renewed next month. Next month, there's a ton of bombs going off. I don't know what they're going to do to stop a lot of these, but it's going to get real interesting to see what happens in May. Because while all of these bombs are going off, the box office is going to be blowing up. The box office in May is incredible. So we need to just, like I said, guys, it's going to be painful, but relax. We got to get through this next month and a half. We got to just get past fucking April. Once we get past April, like I said, everything going forward for us is so much better. It's not even funny. But it's going to be very interesting to see who can start paying these loans back. They paid back 17 billion last week. So over the next couple, like I said, weeks here, let's see if we start to see bank failures that are unable to pay back their loans from the feds. And I hope we see a couple, because it's going to be interesting to see what the feds do, since they said they have no plans or no idea what they would do if there was a single person that couldn't pay their loans back. So let's see what happens. The state of Texas is terminating its $8.5 billion investment with $1 trillion management BlackRock. Hopefully we start seeing more and more and more people get away from these criminal fucking enterprises. Again, I'm going to show you some banks here. If you're in these banks, your banks are very, very exposed to commercial real estate, and I highly, highly recommend moving your money. But we'll get into that in a second. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys, this was on the FDIC report. FDIC offloads $10.5 billion of Silicon Valley Bank loans. To who? Guess who it went to? An arm of the fucking U.S. Treasury. So in other words, they couldn't find anybody to buy those toxic assets. Okay, so they had those assets. Nobody would buy them. Nobody could take them. And they couldn't afford to take that hit. You know what they did? They sold them to an arm of the U.S. Treasury. In other words, they made the taxpayers pay and buy $10.5 billion of hedge funds mistakes. Out of this bank's mistakes, out of overloaning, out of one bank corrupting this shit. We ended up bailing them out. Cool. So I just want you guys to know, again, now we're paying bills for these guys that are defaulting, but they're not telling you, they're not making them public bailouts. They're just having U.S. Treasury, different arms of the U.S. Treasury now buy these toxic assets for them. So congratulations, you guys. You now you get to pay off $10.5 billion more of bad toxic debt. Yay. We're now the proud owners. Trader Grows, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I always love the diaper payments, man. Can never appreciate it enough, my friend. And again, anybody that donated, we ended up reaching our goal for the puppy. Anybody that donated for his cancer research, good job, guys. I appreciate that. Anytime we can help the family out, especially with animals, again, that's my 1 weak spot. If you need help with that, that's something I'll always try and help you guys out with. But here's some things I want to get into real quick, because this is insanity. This is truly insanity. You now have Ken Griffin even talking about it, and Kenny Boy's even like, what the fuck is going on here? The United States, think about this, you guys. Instead of having this thing where they're like, all right, we're going to have a debt ceiling, but anytime we approach it, we have to announce it, we have to vote on it because we can be held responsible, because eventually the public can say, fucking no, stop voting, blah, blah, blah. So what they ended up doing is they said, fuck it, we're going to just take the cap off, period. And they removed it. And since then, they have printed and borrowed and spent trillions. And as we went over, next week, we're going to be, right at the start of the week, we'll be at 34.6. So we're doing 167 billion every 3 months. If not more than that. Actually, it's been more than that recently. We've been doing that every 2 weeks. It's up 2 weeks. So we're on pace to, like I said, an unbelievable amount of spending. Well, what does this do? Well, exactly what I said was going to happen. Because here's the problem. Powell now says the Fed's held rate, which I told you they were. And now Powell comes out and says inflation is still too high. Ongoing progress is not ensured, and the path for it is uncertain. No shit, dumbass. Crazy. We've been seeing this forever. Now, he says he's fighting inflation and it's not going the way they want. And what did I show you last week? Of course it's not. It's going up. Inflation's raising. So, how the hell can they cut rates? How can you cut rates when inflation's going up now? You can't. There's no way. It's impossible. If you do, you're going to get hyperinflation. And here's the problem. Every time you print, what does that do? It leads to more inequality in the United States, which is already too massive, which we'll get into in a minute. Because what happens? Every time you print, it leads to inflation. It leads to higher prices. Which that means the value of your paycheck goes down. And now you have a ton of people, which we'll get into in a minute. I'll show you some data here. Now you have a ton of people that are, living paycheck to paycheck, which means they can't afford to buy assets. So every time you print, you make the rich richer because only they're now able to afford those assets that the prices are rising for. Look at AMC for an example a long time ago when everybody got in it. Everybody thought it was going to mow ass, and you had a ton of people jump in, and you had people that some people only could get 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 shares. That's all they could afford to do. Every time you print, like I said, you lead to more and more price gouging, inflation, decreased value in paychecks. Well, if you guys look at this, before we get into all this stuff, I want to show you this chart quick. We're going to jump ahead for a second here. Where the fuck is it? How do I always... Did I really close that one, man? Hold on one second. Classic. I apologize. I have so many tabs, and then I click... It's right here in the front here. It's not this one. Here you go. Okay. Look at this chart. This is fucking insanity. Here's your M2 supply right here, okay? Here's your M2 supply. Here's your net worth held by the 0.01%. It's greater than the M2 supply. Look at this. Once we started doing the printing and the bailouts, look at this. Look at the disparity. Look at how high it goes up. Because these guys could only afford to get the assets that are rising and rising and rising as well. While we're living paycheck to paycheck, unable to buy those said assets. Now, this is rising because, yeah, I talked AMC right away in the beginning there. Yes, now you're starting to see a lot of this rise because that's a lot of people are jumping into things like crypto. So, again, printing, inflation, all this does is lead to massive, more inequality in the United States. Well, here's the problem with this. The way you can solve the supply, the pricing issue, and here's why your government sucks, hates you, and why nothing ever gets better. And it's a very easy fix, but they don't want to fix it because that would lower this gap, and they don't like that gap lower. They don't like a thriving middle class. They don't want more people that could suddenly enter into their realm or take away from them. So what do? God damn it. Hold on, sorry. Give me a second. No, I lost my train of thought. Murphy, you got me all messed up, dude. Give me a second. You got me all messed up. Oh, yeah. So, okay, here you go. So why your government hates you. There's two ways to fix this problem. So you can lower demand. You can lower demand, or what else can you do? Fucking supply. Well, you don't want to increase, there's a couple ways you can increase supply. You can increase supply by doing what? They sit here and they pass all these bills. They do all these laws. They do all these, benefits and all these benefits for, these massive corporations. They get this break and that break. Well, here's an idea, the politicians, you pieces of shit. How about you pass a bill that says, hey, if you guys want to open up a company for the first time, you get blah and stimulus, blah, blah, blah. If you guys got instead of lowering demand by raising prices, because that's your government's fix. We'll let inflation, blah blah blah. Inflation will drown. Eventually, it'll drown out the demand. It'll drown out the demand. We'll raise rates. We'll make it harder to get, and that will eventually we'll have the supply over here, and then that will eventually lower it. No, it doesn't. Unless guess what? The population's been going up forever. So when the fuck is the demand going to go down? It's not. So their thing is the dumbest shit ever, and it just continuously adds to inequality. Instead of saying, hey, let's create more supply. Okay, this is too expensive. Instead of having 4 fucking guys that control the entire industry and are fucking gods in this world and can do whatever they want with prices, competition lowers prices. Holy fuck. Who would have thought? It leads to sales. Like I said, there's more than one way to lower prices. But the government would never say, let's increase supplies by giving, more people access to create those supplies. We got to fucking just drown out these guys until they stop wanting to eat, until they stop wanting to have this. Well, the problem with people in the United States is we can't stop spending like it's still 0% rate and like inflation and everything still costs a quarter, which we'll get into in a minute. But again, your country cannot work because look at this. Look at this chart and answer this question. If you have these guys up here and they have more net value than all money, your M2 supply, and these guys are not paying taxes, but these guys down here are, how does that work? Especially when you can't stop spending. They're spending more than they're taxing. We're outspending more than we're making at this point. Yes, here we go. Oh, the GDP went up by 300 million. Here's Jen. Oh, dying young. Oh, GDP raised by 300. Hey, bitch, you didn't mention you added 900 million in debt, or billion in debt to add that little growth. So no. Your debt's way going faster than your GDP growth. Like I said, this country's on a path that is not gonna go well. It's really not gonna go well. And you're seeing nothing but people and nothing but other countries, all these other central banks. What are they doing? They're hoarding gold, as we went over, at the fastest pace ever, because this is getting fucking ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. So again, it's impossible for rate cuts to come. There's zero. If you thought a rate cut was coming this year, you're wrong. And guess what's funny? Everything kept going up, like rate cuts were going in, and nothing's really going down still, and they're not gonna. So now what are the feds admitting? Well, we're gonna scale back. I think we're going to have one rate cut this year. No, you're not. You're not even going to do that. And Powell even admitted it right here. We're likely to cut rates sometimes this year, but prepared to keep rates high longer if needed. Well, the next thing you said, fucking very next thing, inflation is too high. We're not making the progress we want to make. The path forward is uncertain. Okay, so you just basically contradicted yourself. That entire meeting, I don't know if you guys watched that meeting. I wanted to go live that day. Powell sounded like a dumbass. Every time he talked, he contradicted himself because they're panicking. The feds are at 160 billion loss now. Think about that. They're operating at 160 billion loss. They owe that to the Treasury. Well, guess what? All their assets are overvalued. Their QE is slowing down because they can't sell anything off. They're fucked. The Fed. What do you do when the feds are fucked? I don't know. Because that's what's happening. Yes, the feds, everyone's going to go, well, they can just go ahead and print off. Okay, well, if they start mass printing off again, don't solve the problem again, inflation skyrockets, you're going to have a civil war. There is a moment where eventually you have to say, all right, we can't go that much crazy, or there's always consequences. When you go down to the store and suddenly it's $15 for a fucking carton of milk, people are going to start raging in the streets. I really don't know, and this is one of the things why I'm trying to get Peter Hahn on so bad. I'm really curious to hear his take. If you're the feds, if you're the United States, at this point, what do you do? Because you can't just sit there and go, all right, we're going to forgive loans. Because I'm going to show you something here in a minute that, okay, what are you going to do here? There's too many bombs blowing up. There's so many fucking bombs blowing up. And one of the things that's happening because of these bombs, and this is what I told you guys we've been waiting for. When you want your squeeze, when you want the shit to go down, when you want people to crumble, this is what you want to start watching for. And you're starting to see it now. You're finally starting to see, well, okay, before I get to that, Vanguard sees possibility now of no rate cuts. Well, of course, none are fucking coming because you'll instantly have hyperinflation because what's happening again? President Biden signs $1.2 trillion U.S. spending bill. You guys, this spending bill is for 6 months. It's for 6 months, and they raised it up to $1.2 trillion. I want you guys to understand something. This bill came to them at 2 a.m. 10 hours later, they voted on it. So that means every one of them read 100 pages in an hour, memorized everything, had conscious enough thing to say, all right, I've digested this 1,000-page fucking proposal, and I'm going to confident enough to say yes. And they did. Good one. I've seen the people in Congress. Half of them need a pudding cup in a retirement home. They're not reading 100 fucking pages an hour. They're not. They're sitting there with their bifocals or having some guy read it to them. And if they're reading it to them, they're definitely not paying attention enough to fucking vote on a 1.2 6-month spending fucking package. Holy shit. Now, it gets even fucking scarier. And I told you guys we have $8.6 trillion coming renewed in treasuries. Here we go. Yellen has to roll over this month alone $2 trillion. Okay, so that means the rates, like I told you guys, rates in a couple months, all starting in May, you're gonna start seeing 6, 5, 7% stuff. Everyone's gonna start flying out of these banks because our government can't stop spending, and they can't stop spending at an alarming rate, fucking rate. And that's going to cost them debt, which is going to cost them more interest rates because everyone in the world sees what the fuck is happening. Okay? She needs to roll over another 10 trillion. Like I said it was 8.6. It was 9.6. I apologize. It's 9.6. He rounded up. Okay? A 7-year bonds issued in 2017 by June at a rate of 6%. Okay, so those, again, in June, you're going to see these astronomical numbers that I told you you're going to see, and banks are going to go down from this aspect alone. This doesn't even count the commercial real estate. It's just from this aspect alone. You're going to see bank failures, tons of people. Everyone's going to get the fuck out of them. Everyone's going to be running to money market funds, and that's what the government wants because, again, They cannot go to other countries because none of them wanna. None of them want to buy bonds anymore. So the only people that can buy bonds now are your own people. Well, they're all fucking broke. And you can't stop spending. There's gonna be problems. Big ass problems. Now, even Ken Shitty Trash Griffin 2 days ago, he's like, what the fuck is going on? $168 billion was added to the debt total in 20 days. In 20 days. Like I said, we're adding like $200 billion a month. We're going to spend like $2.9 trillion this year adding on just debt. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Even Kenny Boy's like, we're fucking spending out of control. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. What the fuck is going on? I hate the criminal, but this is one of the only times he's right. What the fuck is happening? Our government needs to be fucking, dude, like something has to change here. I mean, good God, I'm having a kid, dude. I cannot imagine the world. If you're a parent, what in the fuck are they inheriting? What is your kids inheriting? More debt than anyone can afford? The inflation, like I said, this alone is eliminating the banking sector because it's not, you don't need it. But one of the things that's happening because of this, and this is what we've been wanting to see. This is what we've been waiting for, and this is what I've been like, yes. When you start seeing this, you start seeing big problems. Now, all this is crushing the banks. All of this is hurting credit. I told you credit's going to start to dry up. That's when you win. When credit is gone, you win. Why? Think about it. It's common sense. They're all over leveraged. They're all living off credit. Okay? They're all living off more and more borrowed fucking credit. Well, guess what? When the credit stops, so does the game. It's over. When credit stops, so does everything else. Well, all this is smashing down the bank's ability to lend. So now what are people doing? Look here. Private lending has grown, market has grown 1/3 bigger than the HY bond market and roughly 75% the size of all U.S. bank and CL loans. So in other words, they're all running to private credit to try and get through this and pay back their bank loans. Look at this fucking chart. They're all running over there. They can't. They have bad this, bad that. They don't have enough credit to pass to get bank loans. So they're all running over to private credit. They're all running over to this private lending market at high rates. Like I said, eventually, if you you cut off this credit here. Well, this market over here is very limited, you guys. This market has a cap. It's not like the banks. This market has a cap. And when it gets capped out, what happens? Well, they only got they have $500 billion in dry powder. But I mean, Jesus Christ, you got JP Morgan and all these other banks that are trillions and trillions and hedge funds and all. I mean, this can go quick. And even with the amount these guys are going to owe, it's just, like I said, these guys are running from credit card to credit card. Well, now they can't even get credit cards. Now they're going over here to like these second, third world rate credit cards. Some private guy between two people, because why? It's harder to track it as well. So they're like, all right, we're over leveraged, we're over fucked. We can't get loans over here. We can't be tracked. So we need to go over here where we're not tracked. We got to start going in the dark. They're moving to the dark. Well, the dark's only so big. Eventually the sun comes up and they shine a light on it. Like I said, guys, this can't go on forever. They're running and running and running. And everybody says, well, they'll make this up and they'll make this up. What happens when all the private lenders are fucking over leveraged from lending it out to people defaulting? Where do they go? Because guess what? They can't run to the banks anymore because the banks, I just showed you, they're not lending. Now what? So now you have banks having problems defaulting. You have all these hedge funds, all these other people defaulting over here that are borrowing from private lenders. Well, now these private lenders are defaulting. Well, now they're defaulting on their loans to banks again. So for everyone sitting there thinking, well, they'll go over here, they'll go over here. No, this area, I told you, when you start seeing them going into this private sector, that's bad. That's like going over it and going, I need a 30% loan to bail out this 15% loan. Holy fuck. Okay, we'll do it. But again, what are you going to do when this runs out? Because I just showed you, you went to the feds. Well, the feds are all dried up. The feds are all dried up. You go to the politicians. Well, what are the politicians going to do? They've extended everything they could. They've given you every fuck. I showed you the list. I showed you the list of the exemptions they gave these guys that have been extended. It was like 40 fucking things. There's like 40 things these guys don't have to report, and it's still not enough because they're that fucked. It's ridiculous. But the second you start to see everybody going, all right, well, fuck the banks now. We got to go over here. They still owe the banks. So now you're trading in all these for this. Like I said, you're going to have a huge problem. You can only hot potato only so long. When you hot potato in the dark, like that's your last spot, man. It's going to get very interesting. Like I said, 2024, by the end of this year, AMC will be, the content's there. Not only is the content there, again, we could see distribution deals. We could see other things with popcorn. We could see more and more things. I can't tell you exactly what, what AMC, he obviously, like I went over before, if Adam Aaron didn't have a plan, and here, for any idiot shill that wants to cry, Al, uneducated morons, Ethan, if Adam Aaron wanted to bankrupt you, you moron, he would have just let the company burn out cash and stop trying to turn everything around. Wow, that was crazy to find out. He wouldn't have paid all this shit back. Here's the thing you guys aren't thinking of. Next year, when it comes to cash burn, think about this for AMC. Next year, we're not paying deferred rent anymore. You guys, you're paying like 40, 50 million in deferred rent a quarter, 30 million a quarter in deferred rent. That was your loan payment. You're no longer paying that. You're no longer paying this credit facility. You're not paying this credit card down. That's gone. You're going to have more revenue streams, and you're going to have way better content. 2025 is the year for AMC. They just needed to make sure they were going to get there. That's all this meeting was about, and here was their plan to get them there since they closed down the credit card. So again, guys, everything is coming down to what we want to see. They've ran to their last hill. On top of that, I'll show you this as well. So now they can no longer get loans from banks. So where are they going? They're going to the they're going to private lending. And now what else is happening? Stock concentration is at Great Depression levels because every one of them is standing on the same fucking hill. Well, that hill, again, that hill is built on fake numbers. So when this crash happens, it's going to slam down astronomical because everything is so much worse and they're all relying on the same exact collateral. This is why that it hasn't dropped. Nvidia keeps going up, keeps going up, keeps going up because they can't afford it to go down anything. They are 100% reliant now on more people giving them super high risk interest rated credit and these stocks staying afloat while insiders are selling off like crazy. Meanwhile, our government's spending like fucking mad, and what else is happening? So, a couple days ago, the Fed Bank bailout program is ending. Now what? Well, this is from the CEO of the real estate. They're a giant real estate company, RXR. Okay? So obviously he understands what's going on in the market. He understands financing. He understands everything. He works in this industry all the time, and he's one of the top people that work in this, one of the huge company, okay? A wave of maturity for 10-year loans signed after the Great Recession is on the horizon. Some $930 billion of U.S. commercial real estate debt. And I showed you it actually went up the other week. It went up to 1.05 trillion, okay? So this is actually higher. Now listen, or around 20% of the estimated 4.7 trillion in total commercial real estate debt that is outstanding. It will all mature in 2024,
Okay? That means banks are going to have to refinance, extend, or pay these loans off. Ain't going to do any of that shit. No, but these guys are just defaulting, and I'm going to show you this in a second. The situation is so bad that this guy said, with the CRE issues, coupled with banks' already ongoing problems, this could reduce the total number of banks in the U.S. by 500 or more over the next 2 years. Rates are going to keep going up. They're not going to push this down. Rates are going to stay as high. If you look, supply is raising in the housing market, but the price is staying the same because the demand is not there because nobody can afford anything. As I showed you in the chart before the other week, and I showed you in this chart here. Our total assets, we just don't have enough. Too many people are living paycheck to paycheck. Again, every time they print, prices rise, your check value drops. Now that means the rich get richer because they can now afford the assets to buy instead that are rising. Now, I want to show you guys this because it starts to get insanity. Now, this is what I showed you guys you want to see. 1, them running over here. 2, them all running to the same hill. You're now seeing them run to the same hill, run to private lenders. And number 3, you want to see these things start to default and collapse at rates of 0. Now watch this. This is 2 days ago. 2 San Francisco office buildings bought for $949 million in 2019 have been marked down to 0. These guys are losing up the ass right now. A $345 million commercial-backed real estate loan by 8 hotels has defaulted. Now, this doesn't count this and the other amounts I'm going to show you, but last week I showed you those defaults. This now puts us over $1.4 billion in defaults from last week and this week in defaults in 1 week. And that doesn't even count this and this. So we're actually over $2 billion in defaults in 1 week. Now, Retalio Capital Management has surrendered Tower Plaza. Surrendered it. San Jose office building is seized by lenders as real estate woes widen. I mean, I'm not even adding the value in all of these. But now it's daily. It is becoming daily. And this is what I told you guys you're going to want to start to see. Now it gets even worse now. Here's a problem these guys didn't expect to happen. So you're having defaults. You're having defaults everywhere. What else is that going to affect? State Farm Insurance. State Farm Insurance discontinues 72,000 home policies in California. Why? Because it says the Illinois-based company, California's largest insurer. Now, I want you guys to understand why this is going to start to become a problem. It is mandatory to have all of this. Now, the number one insurance company out there is leaving. They're leaving. 72,000 home, or 30,000 houses and 42,000 apartments will no longer be insured. That's insanity. Now, what's that going to do? It's going to make other companies there, because you're now having to, like I said, you have to buy this insurance. You're now going to see price of insurance skyrocket over there. Now, they cited soaring costs, the increase of risk of wildfires, new regulations, new policies. Like I said, 72,000 are now going to lose their insurance. Cost of insurance is going to fly. And again, commercial real estate is going to go down because it's going to get, again, more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. More of these companies, as we went over last time. You're losing corporations instead of being a good government for your people and saying, let's fix the supply instead of create such a high price we lower the demand. Let's fix the supply. Let's create competition. Let's give more citizens more access to capital. If it means more businesses, more startups to add supply to lower cost, and then we can also get more taxes from the new companies. That would be intelligent, so we won't do that. So once again, most of these companies are saying, how can I save money? Well, guess what? It's pretty fucking expensive to rent out these office buildings, especially if I cannot have that expense and everybody can work at home. People can log in. We can do virtual meetings. What the hell do I need to be in the office with them for? You can see when they're logged in. You have them on webcam. I mean, if you look, most people I know that work from home, their work hasn't gone down. They're actually happier. They're more relaxed. I mean, like I said, there's tons and tons of benefits. And most of these people are saying it's just an expense I can't take. So we're just going to leave and not renew our contracts. And then more companies are leaving or defaulting on top of that. The commercial real estate is a $1 trillion bomb. Again, it's coming hard. Now, if you guys have these banks are this year, they could go down. These guys have a ton of exposure to commercial real estate and a ton of these loans that could be defaulting. Now, if you look over here, Bank OZK has $32 billion in assets that could default. It is 68.6% of their total loans. If you're in this bank, I highly recommend get the fuck out. Home bank shares 63% of their loans, $22 billion in exposure. New York Bancorp. Now, I want you guys to listen to this, and this is why I tell you guys, those hedge funds are fucked. And the reason I truly believe that they wanted to bail out New York Bancorp was to use the customer deposits in a scam to buy Twitter. If you look here at New York Community Bancorp, they have $111 billion. 57% of that loan is in commercial real estate, you guys. Like I said, look at this. They're not feeling good right now. If you're in any of these banks, Westco, Glacier Banks, Financial, Resistance, Waft, Waft Bank? What kind of stupid name is that? United Bank, Axos Bank, Independent, Valley. You guys, you're looking at 42% plus, up to 68% of their loans out in commercial real estate that are set to be exposed. So again, here's your list. If you guys want, I can go ahead and post. Here you go. Here's the article. Obviously, you guys, if you can look at your own bank's financial statements to see, but this is just the top one, just a quick little look. So if you have any of those banks, get the fuck out. Now, like we were talking about before, so you're having all of these, all of these go under, like we're talking about with the printing, continuous printing. The problem that the United States is about to have in a lot of these banks and a lot of citizens is people are still spending like everything's fine. You're now starting to see credit card delinquencies fly. We're now flying up. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. Now, if you look here, basically all of people's access savings, if you look, we're below zero. Everybody spent their access savings. People are underwater. The average person is underwater, and the average person has a ton of credit card debt. The average person is defaulting on credit card debt. We now have $1.126 trillion in credit card debt, and I already showed you about the interest payment. These companies are just going to keep going under and under and under, which again is going to lead to more of these people not spending money at these guys. And they're saying the only way we can save money is to get out of these office buildings. So again, the commercial real estate It's just starting. These are our bombs. Commercial real estate, them all sitting on the same hill, them all going down, or them all having to go to private direct lending instead of using banks. Because, again, the only reason you go to this is when you cannot get loans from banks anymore. Your credit is too shit. So what is going on? What are the regulators doing? Instead of focusing on the criminals, of course, what they're doing, they're now going after Ethereum. Ethereum Foundation faces inquiry from the government. Fortune says the SEC is now investigating Ethereum. SEC is now pursuing a legal campaign to classify Ethereum as a security. So they want to go ahead and once again get control of Bitcoin, get control of all of this stuff, because they know if everybody starts to jump back out, get out of this stuff, nobody sits into their system and can bail them out, or if people start to leave this at any kind of a rate anymore, they're fucked. They're fucked. Again, this country's been taken. It's been taken from us by criminals. Fucking criminals. And then what we did is we put criminals inside of politicians. And we let those politicians, decide laws by who pays them the most money. We allowed a thing called dark money to come into existence, which means super PACs were no longer, or PACs were no longer existent, and you now have super PACs. You made it untraceable, and your government no longer works for you, and they have spent everything, and they're letting it crash and burn. I told you guys this would be their very last thing to do. If all else fails, you let it all crash, you let it all go burn, you let it all go down, and you move your rich assets currently into other areas that once the new thing happens, your great reset comes, your great reset I've been talking about for years, you already have it in gold, other assets that are already valuable for when the new thing happens. Move it into Bitcoin, things of that nature. Now, China, one of the things I wanted to show you guys, you know, this is fucking insanity. Evergrande, the reason they didn't want to get audited is they actually have now a $78 billion fraud case. Holy fucking shit. $78 billion. Now, this is pretty fucking ballsy doing this over there where they decapitate people and torture people. So, it's going to be crazy to see what happens over there with this. But this is the biggest fraud case. Like, Jesus. This is insanity. 78 billion, you guys. To put that in comparison, .com bubble, 11 billion. Enron was 600 million. This is 78 billion. This is bigger than the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme of 68 billion. This is nuts, guys. So, Evergrande, like we were saying that forever, was a giant Ponzi scheme of billions, and this is going on all over the world. Eventually, enough people are going to wake up. And again, be prepared for craziness ahead, because it's all of this that's going on. Like I said, this is just going to get worse the more we spend, and we're spending worse and worse and taking caps off, and we have renews and renews and renews. Relax. I know it's fucking hard. Relax until May. May is key for a ton of different things, including the box office, T1, the CAT system, the commercial real estate will be imploding by then. You also have all those the bank term lending program. All of those loans need to be basically repaid back. Tons of them, 80 billion worth. So again, May is a lot. They've kicked the can, but they've all kicked the cans to the same period. Now, I'm not saying May is going to be the instant pop. For everyone's going to be, oh, squeeze in May. Don't fucking go out and buy options because I said May. But May it's going to be a breaking point for a lot of this stuff. A lot of this crime, a lot of this criminality that they're able to pull off now will be coming to an end. And a lot of the areas that they're getting credit from is drying up faster than they can imagine, and they're already running to the dark. Again, the dark is only so big. So once again, I'm just going to go over this real quick in case you were here for AMC and you missed it in the beginning, because I have a ton more people in here than I did. There's 400 more people in here over the last time I went over this. So again, what is happening with AMC and its debt, and then after this, I'll go into questions. Today, or if you look at this last year, he talked about debt covenants getting extended. So what happened here? You cannot talk about this meeting unless you understand this covenant. AMC opened a credit facility which had restrictions attached to it. AMC maxed that credit facility out. This was years ago. So since they had the credit facility and it had different restrictions, the banks that gave us that credit facility, they dropped covenants. They let some go by, and they extended that for years and years and years until AMC paid back that credit facility. AMC has now paid that credit facility off in full. AMC has announced they are no longer going to renew that credit facility. Now, that could mean for a couple of reasons. Once again, it could mean Adam Aron has a new credit facility lined up with better terms. It could mean Adam Aron thinks he doesn't need that and has other ways to get cash, and another way that he thinks that he can get to where AMC is going to thrive in Q3, Q4, Q1 of all next year and this year. Now, could also mean another thing. He's going to restructure debt. There's a ton of things that this can mean. But what this shows you is Adam Aron has confidence enough where AMC no longer needs this credit facility. And he says that the benefits do not outweigh the restrictions attached to the card. Now, what that means is these banks are saying we're no longer going to, extend that debt covenant forgiveness. You're going to have to follow these guidelines. So in other words, Adam Aron says, I think AMC will have enough cash on hand, enough of this. We'll be able to raise this, do this, to be able to follow guidelines and make it through to recovery. So I don't need your credit facility. So now what's happening is these guys said, okay, if you no longer need my credit card, if you no longer need this, what is your plan? Here is a plan that we have laid out for you. Maybe you want to do this. This could be plenty of things. Again, this could be refinancing. This could be them saying, hey, let's buy up let's put all your loans into one loan, into one term, under one rate, and it'll be lower than the average of the other loans if you raise X capital. Or they could say, we're going to refinance your loans. We need, to make it more attractive, we need warrants, we need convertible notes. But if you're AMC, you're going to say, fine, we'll do that at $12, $13, $14. So then that way, everybody's aligned and everybody wants the company to succeed and everybody wants the company to get to that high price. So there's plenty of different things he can do. He can do a reverse stock split type scenario. They could, I'm not saying that that's what, an idea, but that's what they could have floated. Do maybe a 4-to-1 reverse split, raise capital enough to where you're good to go until you guys are profitable. Whatever, they could have floated him any idea. Okay, so this is not them saying you're gonna go, broke. You're gonna this. What are we doing? Blah blah blah. This is them. All this is saying is you no longer are using a credit facility. Here's an idea to replace that, or here's an idea to help restructure your debt, to help your balance sheet improve, blah, blah, blah. You can counter it, blah, blah, blah. It said they also met before, and all this is them saying is we don't know if with the slow start of the year, are the movies good enough for you guys to start, being fully profitable in Q2, 3, 4. And if he believes that's the case, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, Adam Aron can say no to whatever this is. But there are plenty of options that they can do. And again, for people that didn't think we needed a capital raise, we will only be at $1.5 billion. So yes, we do need a capital raise because you will burn 200 million plus, and we will have 660 million on the balance sheet. Again, I told us to do about a 75 million, maybe an 80 to 90 million. Get us back to 750, and I believe at that point, again, the box office starts to recover to where you're not going to have this cash burn going forward. So, any questions, anyone? Sorry, I tried to fly through that there at the end. For those 2 people that sent me super chats, again, I appreciate it. Little Bigums appreciates it. We got a name picked out.
But I don't want. I'll announce it when little man comes. But does anyone have any questions at all? I mean, does everyone understand this meeting? Is everyone relaxed about the FUD going around, all this craziness? Because again, all these people that made these videos freaking everyone out, talking about bankruptcy, they never even brought this up. So it's like, if you didn't understand the credit facility and that these guys opened the credit facility up and all they really want to know is what's your plan going forward, since we're no longer using that and you're not renewing it. They're just trying to talk shit, so fuck them. Am I worried about AMC's debt? No, because again, I feel if you look at April, it sucks ass. Movies suck ass. They're horrible. But if you look at May and June and July and every other month from there on out, May and June to me make up for it. April being so shitty easily. I still truly believe that you'll see a $2 billion plus Q2. The movies are in my I like 5 or 6 that I really want to see. There's tons of better movies, and it's like AMC. We need to do either restructure debt. We need to continuously close. The thing I want Adam Aaron to do is start closing theaters. We need to start to close down these theaters, these unprofitable theaters. The thing with AMC, it's like, okay, we get it. You're the biggest theater company, but you can still close down 100 theaters that are underperforming. You can still close down 100 theaters that are burning a ton of cash. You can close down a ton of these that, you know, you can start to reduce that cash burn. There's tons of things they can do. They're already renegotiating. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen here with the distribution. I was hoping this year, the way he was talking, you know, distribution would be a bigger thing than it currently already is. I thought we would have, you know, maybe 1 or 2 concerts lined up. I thought at this point he would, you know, he kind of gave out hints maybe about Megaopolis. Megaopolis said we just need, you know, we just straight up need a distributor. Adam, get your head out of your ass. Just go fucking over there. Whatever he says, just say, what do you want? What would make you do this deal? And if he gives you terms that are a little favorable than him, give him 90% of what he wants and then demand just a little bit more on 10%. Might not be the greatest deal in the history, but it's Reva fucking new, and it's getting your name out there, and it just get it done. Any penny helps, dude. Putting out a movie like Megaopolis can suddenly get you in the door with all these top movies coming out after that. So it's like I want him to focus on distribution, closing down tons of these theaters that are not profitable, and you know, getting. I mean, I thought we'd have alcohol by now. The way he sounded, we'd have alcohol by now. So it's like, let's get that going. Like, there's a couple of things where it's like, let's get some stuff going. But the thing is, it's when the content comes back for AMC, we've kicked the middleman out of everything. AMC will be profitable. They will be very profitable. And the content in My Heist comes back in Q2, 3, 4, and all of 2025. 2026, I showed you, is already shaping up to be insane. 2026 is going to be incredible. 2025, you have Star Wars movies. 2025 is going to be huge. There's tons of things. Like I said, I already showed you the 15, 16, 17 movies that are going to be massive the rest of this year. All AMC needed was content. That's all we were lacking, and that's all coming right after, starting in May. I mean, I don't think he's going to do another reverse split. I don't really feel that he needs to. I think, like I said, in a couple months here, we'll start turning profits. And I think we'll start turning a pretty decent profit. Especially if he can pull off some distribution deals that I don't know about in those quarters. But right now, everything I wanted for our opponents to see happening is happening. Again, they're all backed on the same fucking hill. They're no longer able to lend out from banks. That's a big deal, you guys. I don't think you understand how big a deal that is. Your opponent, everything is so shitty, he can't go get loans from a bank. He has to go to private lenders. Like I said, guys, it's coming. You're getting there. You're squeezing them to death. They're just running to any and every possible place they can find. And if the last place you're going to is these 30% massive ass private loans, good luck. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, billions and billions of commercial real estate are dropping in a week. What's going to happen by next month when you got 25, 30 billion that's going to slam down all at once? They're not going to stop this. I even showed you the apartment thing. The apartment complex that they tried to turn into, the office building they tried to turn into an apartment complex, they defaulted halfway through the project. Like, what the fuck? So their plan to bail it out failed. That's insanity. So it's going to be very interesting, guys, to see what ends up happening here. So these next couple months, tons of pressure is squeezing on them. And in the next week or two, maybe 3, I expect Adam Aaron to make an announcement of some kind. I expect Adam Aaron to make an announcement of the debt, maybe debt restructure, maybe a new credit facility, maybe some type of thing. You know, something's going to happen here in the next couple weeks to the next month and a half. Something will happen here that will change course for a lot of things. So just relax for this slow period here in content. May, like I said, just May alone. We can pull it up quick. But it starts out real nice. So you got Fall Guy, which I think the Fall Guy is going to kill it. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think that should kill it. You got that If. That If movie looks pretty... I mean, for kids, that's the thing. You never want to underestimate kids' movies. I mean, look at Kung Fu Panda. You never want to estimate them. They can definitely do hundreds and hundreds of millions. The Strangers Chapter 1, that looks pretty good. What the hell was... I know I'm missing some stuff. Oh, yeah, the Frozen Mad Max movie. I want to see that. The Garfield movie. I definitely want to see that. And that's the thing. With this Garfield movie, I think this Garfield movie could be massive. It's going to be huge. I think it's going to be one of the biggest movies. Because you can hit older adults. So you have all the older generation, even the middle gen. You know, every generation knows Garfield. And kids love it. Kids are going to love it. They're going to see the, cartoon. So, I mean, I feel like Garfield could, do super good. Super good. I feel like I'm missing something here. I thought Bad Boys 4 was out. Like, I feel like this is missing some lists here. Isn't bad. I mean, either way, I said like 5. Oh, wait. Isn't the Quiet Place 1 on here? Like, see, it's missing some things here. Here, let me, oh, that's the same damn thing. Here we go. All right. I know I'm missing some more here. Okay, what the hell? Is this like going off by... This is weird. I'm pretty... Wait, when the hell is Bad Boys 4? I'm pretty sure Bad Boys 4 comes up. Oh, no, that's in June, man. So that's right after. So that's what I'm saying. And then June release date. So you have those sweet movies. So you have all those movies in June. Fall Guy. Or in May, I'm sorry. Kingdom Planet of the Apes. Frozen. If. Stranger Things. Garfield. And then you got Bad Boy 4 in June. June has super good ones too. So in that quarter, you're going to have really good movies here. You got Despicable Me 4. Despicable Me 4. Like I said, that was a $1 billion movie. Buddy, you're okay. You got Bad Boys 4. The Crow. Let's see here. I got a lot more. I feel like I'm missing like Transformers. Here's A Quiet Place. So I mean, you got baby, please. My dog's going crazy. I might have to let him out quick. He's just going nuts over that snow. It's snowing so much here in. You got Inside Out 2. Yeah, Beetlejuice. Like I said, it's missing. Yeah, it's missing a couple things on here. Baby, okay. It's okay. We'll go in a second. So, I mean, like I said, the content in Q2, it starts out slow. And, I'm expecting, because you only have really Civil War. You only really have Civil War in April. April, I expect to be, like, seriously, like 400 million. $500 million at the box office, like a shitty box office month. But then after that, like I said, May, you have those 5 movies. Those 5 movies, I could easily see us doing $1 billion. Boy, I could see us easily doing $1 billion, or right around there. And then right in June, you still have really good movies once again. So I could see it being like a $2.1, $2.2 billion. As long as he gets more cash burn under control, you know, we keep releasing more sweet. Funny. All right, let me see. Deadpool. I can't remember when Deadpool is. When is Deadpool? I thought that's in July. And that's the thing, like Q3. Dude, I think Q3 movie releases are fucking sweet. Baby boy. Hold on. What do you do? Release date. Oh, there you go. Okay, first of all, when Spider-Man is not first here. Okay, I'm not gonna deal with it. You got Twister coming out. Like I said, man, I mean, there's so many good movies coming out. You got Deadpool in July, Despicable Me, Twister. Buddy, hold on, please. He's like pushing my chair back. I know this is missing. I don't even think this is. Okay, I had this. Like I said, I had this all in that other one. I went over all this. I don't even know what the hell this is even showing me. Like, these don't even look like movies in theaters here. All right, Despicable Me, Beverly Hills Cop. I don't know. Beverly Hills Cop could be funny. Twister, Deadpool. August is pretty good. But that's the thing. Like I said, we're just missing a little bit of content here, and we're good to go, my friends. Borderlands. I want to see Borderlands. So you got Aliens in August. You got Aliens, Borderlands, this Horizon movie. Okay, this site sucks. I'm done with this site. I'm done looking at this site. I was like, I know it's missing this shit. I'm like, I don't even think any of it never showed. When the hell's Gladiator 2? I think Gladiator might be later on. If you haven't averaged down yet, man, that'd be crazy. I feel like everyone's pretty much averaged down. Yeah, that Aliens movie. I want to see that Aliens movie. That looks good. But no one else has any questions at all. I'm going to get going here. I got to let this dog out before he throws me over here trying to get outside. But thank you guys for listening. I'm going to try my hardest here to get Peter on next week. It's like, I don't know why we can't ever seem to find a date. Or if we do, it's like the last second something happens. So hopefully I can get him on here this week. But thank you guys. I'll be on shortly. Pretty soon here again. Bye, guys.